Delusional Cowboy fans are crazy. A delusional Cowboy fans after their team keeps losing every week is dangerous. They become maniacs. That's why, as Super Bowl champions, we have a responsibility. Even as division winners, we have responsibility. That's why I came up with this nighttime storybook last year for Dallas Cowboy fans. And every week, which is almost every week, they lose, we have to read them a nighttime story to keep them calm, put them to bed so they leave everybody alone. What am I talking about? Here's an excerpt. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how satanic you really are. Up above, the world so high, stick a needle in that all-seeing eye. And as you fall from the sky, everybody's gonna laugh at you cry. And as Dallas loses week to week, everybody knows the Cowboys peaked. So twinkle, twinkle, little star, don't you know the Eagles can throw you far? And as you look at this beautiful hat, don't you know you people are a bunch of dingbats? Kick the red, double move on the red. Yo everybody, how you doing? King Dingbat here. So the Eagles report for training camp in 2 days. 2 days. You got other teams reporting for camp today. So as far as I'm concerned, football season is started. And with that, I want to start to preview the 2018 Philadelphia Eagles training camp. And what I want to do over the next week is I'm going to break it up into 4 parts. Today I'm going to cover the offense. Tomorrow I'm going to preview the defense. Then later in the week, I will do a 53-man roster prediction. And then part 4 will be basically talking about any possible additions or trades the Eagles may make during training camp. So the Eagles come into the 2018 season as the defending champions. And when I look at this offense, I think it's improved from the Super Bowl run that they had a year ago. Not just because they have a lot of guys coming back from injuries, but I think the moves that they made in the offseason makes this offense better. And when we look at the offense and when we look at this team as a whole, for the most part, it's all going to be about Carson Wentz. When is he going to be healthy? When is he going to be cleared? And all eyes are going to be on Carson. But my feelings with Carson is I expect him probably not to play during preseason. I expect them to use Nick Foles, who is the best backup in the National Football League, Super Bowl MVP. And I expect them to use him as a starter, and he'll get starter reps during preseason games and that kind of thing. And then you're going to see a lot of Nate Sudfeld. You're going to see a lot of Nate Sudfeld play this preseason, and the Eagles think very, very highly of him. They think that he could be a starter in this league. They said that they think he has starter material. So it's going to be interesting to watch how he develops and what they think of him. And if he plays real good and they think highly of him, and you get a Sam Bradford situation, which is all for another video, but, what would that mean? What would they do? Do they believe in Nate Sudfeld enough that they could think he's a backup? I don't know. But when Carson's healthy, you have the best quarterback tandem in the National Football League with Carson and Nick Foles. And then we also have Joe Callahan, who is basically a body. I think he's there for reps because you're not going to have Carson playing, so you need another quarterback to play. And I expect him to probably get cut during the season. Maybe he'll show well and he can go somewhere else. But I see him as pretty much a camp body. So when I look at the Eagles' wide receiver position, I think they have upgraded. Now, the reason I say this is because they traded Torrey Smith and they brought in Mike Wallace. And to me, Mike Wallace is an upgrade from Torrey Smith. I love Torrey Smith as a person, great guy. But Mike Wallace, to me, is a better football player. So that is a clear upgrade at that spot. And then when you look at Alshon Jeffrey, he played with a torn rotator cuff last year, pretty much the whole year. So he was limited in what he could do. So I expect 100% Alshon Jeffrey to really be a lot better than he was, especially early in the year. Mike Wallace will be better. Then you look at Nelson Aguilar, who is in the second year of playing the slot wide receiver. I think he's only going to be better. I mean, the whole thing with Nelson Aguilar always has been, mental. He couldn't handle the mistakes he made early in his career. Now that he has some confidence, he's going to steamroll. He's going to get better and better. That's kind of how I see it. And then Matt Collins will be in his second year. I think he will be even better. And then pretty much the battle you're going to have at wide receiver in my position is going to be those two other spots, because I think they'll probably have 5 wide receivers make this team. Now, the guy I'm very interested in watching is Shelton Gibson, because I would love to see him really take a step, because he has that speed that we really could use in the deep threat game, and I would like to see him do something. So I'm going to be watching him very closely. Marcus Wheaton is another guy. I really like this signing. I like this signing a lot because I think Marcus Wheaton is shown flashes before that he could be pretty good. And you put him on a team where they spread the ball so much and you're asking him to do just certain things, I think he fits with the Eagles perfectly. So I kind of see him and Shelton Gibson making this team. You have guys like Triggs and Ward. They'll be fighting for basically those 2 spots. You figure Alshon, Nelson Aguilar, Mike Wallace and Matt Collins are all locks to make this team at wide receiver. So those last 2 spots I think will be the big fight. And, we'll deal with the 53-man prediction later. But it's going to be interesting. And overall, I see the Eagles wide receiver position as much improved. When we look at the Eagles offensive line position, basically, all I could say is that's the best offensive line in football. No doubt about it. Not only are they the best offensive line in football, I also think they are the deepest. With what you had, Big V replace Jason Peters, Wisniewski, all those guys can come in and play. And now you're getting Jason Peters back. This offensive line is really, it's a great offensive line. And the guy actually, there's 2 guys on the offensive line I'm very interested in. Of course, Jordan Mailata, the rookie who's going to try to convert to a tackle. I'm very interested in seeing him because he's a beast. And then another guy that people haven't really talked too much about, but the Eagles signed him to a 2-year contract last year, so they wanted another offseason to work with him, and that's Chance Warmack. What is he? I think this is a guy who, coming out of college, had all the talent in the world, and I want to see what he looks like with another full off season, the Eagles working with him. I think that he has talent, and I think this is the year that he's either going to show us something or he's got nothing. So I'm very interested to see Chance Warmack. But overall, for the offensive line, best in the league. Very early in the Eagles offseason, I was very worried about the tight end position. They lost Trey Burton, who I think has tons of talent. Then you lost Brent Selleck, who is a leader in the locker room, great blocker, and a guy that had been there a long time. Those guys were both gone, and we were left with Zach Ertz and Billy Brown. Then the Eagles went out and they drafted Dallas Goedert, which to me was the steal of the draft. I think when we look back on this draft, everybody's going to say, wow, how did the Eagles get him in the second round? How did they do that? That's a great pick. And I love the kid. I think he's going to be great. And then they also signed Richard Rodgers, another guy who's shown that he can be a good offensive tight end. So now when I look at the tight ends, and you have Ertz, Richard Rodgers, Dallas Goedert, and Billy Brown, I think that they have a lot of offensive ability. They have a lot of talent offensively. Where I worry about it is who's going to block. How great of a blocker is Richard Rodgers? He really wasn't that great of a blocker. How good can Dallas Goedert? And that's going to be the question that we're going to have to ask about the tight end situation. But Doug Peterson, I trust him. I know he knows what he's doing, especially at the tight end position. And I cannot wait to see how they use Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz. I think they're going to be explosive and dangerous, and they're going to wreak havoc on everybody in this league. And for that reason, I think that the tight end position also has upgraded. Now, when I look at who makes this team, as much as I liked Billy Brown, I thought he played good last year in preseason. I don't see how he makes this team. I think it'll be Ertz, Goedert, and Richard Rodgers. But we're going to have to see. We'll see. Could Billy Brown beat out Richard Rodgers somehow? We'll find out. It'll be an interesting battle. Now, over the last few days, I did a couple videos on the running backs. I did one on Clement and Ajayi, and then one yesterday on Darren Sproles. Now, when you look at those 3 guys, we know that they are locks to make this team at the running back position, which leaves one spot open and a bunch of guys to fight over. Now, I was hoping that one spot that is open would have been filled by LeGarrette Blount and the Eagles would have resigned him this offseason. Of course, that didn't happen. He goes to Detroit, and now we got a kind of a hole there at that fourth spot for a bunch of guys to fight over. That said, I still think that the Eagles are better at the running back position than they were a year ago. Why do I say that? Because of this. One, you have Jay Ajayi for a whole year. He's not coming over at the trade deadline. He's been here the whole off season. He's going to start out with us. And I think that he will be even better than he was a year ago. Plus, he didn't get overworked last year, so he should be pretty fresh. Then you have Corey Clement, who I like, who I talked about that I think could be a franchise running back on this team in the future. He's coming into his second year, so he's going to be better. Then to add Darren Sproles, who went out during the Giants game last year, early in the season, to get him back, somebody that can do it all, plus is a Pro Bowler on special teams, I think overall the running back position is stronger than it was a year ago. But there's still one spot left open that has to be addressed. So we're going to have a lot of guys fighting over that last spot. But to me, I only really see two guys battling this out in the end. Now, we know Donald Pumphrey and Wendell Smallwood, but to me, I don't know that they can make it. I thought Pumphrey looked like a deer in headlights during preseason last year, and he showed me nothing. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that he can bring out and show us what the Eagles saw in him to draft him, but to me, I don't have a lot of hope. And then Wendell Smallwood, I kind of been done with him since last year. I don't think he'll ever be better than what we saw. So I see this position, this last spot, going to either Matt Jones, the longtime Redskin, or Josh Adams, the undrafted rookie from Notre Dame that the Eagles brought in. Now, Matt Jones, he was with the Colts last year, was Redskins before it. He's a decent player, pretty good player. He could very easily win this spot. And then you have Josh Adams, a rookie, so we don't really know. I know that he's coming in with an ankle or foot injury, so it may take him a while to even start playing. So he may be behind the 8 ball on Matt Jones once training camp starts. But at the end of the day, I think Josh Adams is going to make this final roster. I think he is going to be the sleeper of training camp on offense. On offense, there's some interesting guys on defense too, but I think he's going to be a lot better than people realize. I think that running backs sometimes have an easier transition, and I think he's going to make this team. So I would say that when it comes to the running back position, I see it's going to be Ajayi, Corey Clement, Darren Sproles, and Josh Adams. That's kind of what I see at the running backs, and it'll be interesting. I can't wait to see him play. It's going to be fun. So with that said, that is pretty much the offensive preview for the training camp. Tomorrow I will do defense, and then we'll go from there. But with that said, I hope everybody has a great day. Be sure to tell me what you think in the comment section. Take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.